A year ago, we witnessed a Buckeye backfield that was hit hard by the injury bug. Well, a year later, players seem to be healthy, and if the Buckeye running backs are hitting on all cylinders while healthy throughout the entire season, oh my goodness, this offense will be a lot of fun to watch.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is a Wednesday, May 31st in the year 2023, and this episode is brought to us by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. During today's episode, we will discuss if the Buckeyes need to use 3 running backs in the fall, and Justice Suing has made a big decision about his future playing basketball. But first, I love the thought of Miyan Williams, TreVeyon Henderson, Chip Trainum, Evan Pryor, Dallin Hayden, all the backs at Ohio State being healthy for the entire year. A year ago, you think about it. Spring practice, I think it was maybe even the spring game. Evan Pryor goes down with an injury, knocks him out for the entire season. I believe in season, TC Coffee, a Walker running back, he goes down. TreVeyon Henderson gets hurt either game 2 or game 3, plays most of the season with a broke foot. Almost every game with the broke foot. Miyan Williams, he got hit hard. Now imagine, just put our imaginations to work for a little bit. Think about what it will be for the Buckeye offense and how lethal it can be if you have Miyan Williams healthy for every game. TreVeyon Henderson healthy for every game. Evan Pryor back and healthy for all the Buckeye games in the fall. Think about that for a second. I am originally planning on coming on here just discussing TreVeyon Henderson specifically and one thing that he can do and work on to be a better running back for the Buckeyes. That's going to come up in a later show. That's just not coming out today. But just the thought of everybody being healthy. The thought of what we talked about yesterday, and the everydayers definitely enjoy the show discussing Marvin Harrison Jr. and why he can be and why he should be in the running for the Heisman Trophy, the preseason conversation. I just picked up the Athlon Sports preseason magazine, and I'm going to dive into that thing in a little bit and look into some of the nuts and bolts of the Buckeyes, the Heisman Trophy race, the All-Americans, the Big Ten preseason teams, and things of that nature. And you know what? Marvin Harrison Jr. could be great. But the everydayers also heard me discuss if the Buckeye running backs do a good job. If the Buckeye running backs do what they need to be, if they have a balanced offensive attack, buddy, that actually derails Harrison Jr.'s opportunity and chances to be a Heisman Trophy winner at wide receiver. But what does it do for the Buckeyes offense? It makes it almost what you want it to be now. They're going to need some help. Not just by not getting hit and pulled down by the injury bug. You got to get some help by the O-line. Because outside of Donovan Jackson and Matthew Jones, the other 3 spots, the 2 tackle spots, and the guy in the middle at center, I have no idea what to expect. None whatsoever. Now, I know down the road, we're going to get my guy Ryan Roberts back on the show to do some preseason summer scouting to discuss those guys that are draft-eligible Buckeyes and things they can do or getting a preseason scouting report on them. And I cannot wait to hear what Ryan has to say about a Josh Simmons, a Donovan Jackson, a Matthew Jones. Because I really think if the offensive line is just slightly above average. I'm having a hard time figuring out the words to come out of my mouth right now. If the offensive line is, let's just say it's a decent O-line, but the Buckeyes running backs are figuring out and their vision has improved in a great way, what are we going to find? We're going to find a team that's going to be good. It can't be okay at running the ball. Pretty good at running the ball. But if that O-line is up to the standard of what a Buckeye O-line needs to be, if the O-line from tackle to tackle, and even extended a little bit every now and then with Cade Stover or Joe Royer or maybe even a Sam Hart or maybe G. Scott Jr. I'm not the biggest G. Scott Jr. guy at tight end, but maybe even G. Scott Jr. Let's just say that everything on the O-line is hitting and going extended to the tight end. Everything's hitting there. You could be looking at a couple guys in the backfield that ends close to 1,000 yards rushing collectively together. Now, the guys that might do that are Evan Pryor. Excuse me. Whoa. I'm hype on Evan Pryor, even though I really haven't seen him play the football just yet because injuries have gotten in the way. I do believe the guys that can do that are easily Miyan Williams and TreVeyon Henderson. Now, injuries have to help them. Also, they got to just do their job. Because I do think a healthy Miyan Williams rushes for 1,000 yards last year. A healthy TreVeyon Henderson, if he's a lead back, rushes for 1,000 yards a year ago. You guys have heard my thoughts on Henderson and my hesitancy to buy into the hype about him. Now, hype coming into college is one thing. Hype about him right now going into year 3 in college football, that's another. So I am hesitant to buy into all the hype on him and to hype him up in the ways that other people have been. I was kind of hesitant on Zach Harrison. I think I was right there. I'm hesitant on TreVeyon Henderson, and I'm not saying he won't get drafted. I'm just saying I'm not all in on him like I am other guys on the Ohio State football team. But if everybody's healthy, if they're hitting on all cylinders, and if they get major assistance from the offensive line, this Buckeye running back room, this Buckeye backfield might be lethal. And you know a great way to help an incoming starting quarterback, a guy who's not started multiple games throughout his college career at the Ohio State University, have the guys behind him run the ball well. Do it consistently. Kyle McCord, Devin Brown, doesn't matter who the starting quarterback is. You want the guys that are playing running back to be great for you, to do their job well, consistently doing it every single time the ball is in their hands. And you know what? A healthy Buckeye backfield should be scary. Should be scary to the other teams in the Big Ten, Notre Dame, the other teams on the Buckeye schedule. And if everything goes like we hope it does, scary for the teams the Buckeyes play in the college football playoff at the end of the season. Health is great. That's one key thing about the Buckeyes offense. If the backfield is healthy, this offense, buddy, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Speaking of a fun offense, there's a thought by some people out there that the Buckeyes should use 3 running backs in the fall and use a 3-back system. I have some thoughts to share about this very topic. You can only hear the next here on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make your fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs because right now new customers can get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. There's no better place to bet all the playoff action than America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Once again, go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. A new summer schedule for the show is coming your way starting next week. We'll be going 4 days a week throughout the month of June. 4 shows this week. Took the holiday off on Monday, Memorial Day, Tuesday through Friday of this week. And then starting next week, it's Monday through Thursday. No Friday show throughout the month of June. So keep that in mind. Put that in the calendar. Also subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes on YouTube because if you want some Locked On Buckeyes content coming your way every day of the week, 7 days a week, hop over there. Trying to work on some different things to revamp and add some added stuff coming your way for Ohio State Buckeye fans that enjoy the YouTube. Locked On Buckeyes is a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Health is huge for the Ohio State backfield. Health is huge for a consistently good offense. Health is huge for the players on the Ohio State football team. But something else that's huge is making sure you're putting the right guys on the football field. I remember before last season, I believe I was watching Minutes of Sports with former Ohio State wide receiver coach Zach Smith and Chris Drew. And I believe Zach Smith was talking about how Ohio State could use a three-back system. There was there was a legit conversation about if that's going to happen. Do you use Henderson, Williams, and Evan Pryor at the time, or do you just stick with the top two guys and ride with them and let them tote the rock? And I think it's a tricky thing. I am a person that when it comes to a three-back system, I wonder, is my first guy getting the job done? Is whoever's RB1 on the depth chart, is he getting the job done? Is he consistently getting the job done by himself? If not, can a second guy get the job done and be consistent for us and allow us to move the ball like we need to? If I'm adding a third guy to the offense, to the backfield, how does that impact the top two guys? Because I think it's clear, NFL, college, even high school, you're probably going to use at least two running backs. I think it goes for any of the top three levels. USFL, XFL, I totally forgot. I didn't really watch much spring football. I watched a little bit. I was at my fiance's house apartment every now and then, and she was like, Jay, what is this? I said, oh, spring football. And her stepbrother-in-law was one that ended up playing for the AAF, and so she knows about spring football and maybe some of the downsides and negative sides of the spring football from just family conversations and hearing his involvement in that spring league. So she was like, is it going to work? Is it going to be different than the AAF? I'm like, I have no idea. I just know the XFL has a rock behind it, so you think financially it'll be stable, but you have no idea. There's been numerous leagues that have tried to work, and a lot of them have not been successful. So the whole three-back system, the conversation I have right now, since I didn't watch the XFL or USFL, I don't know about exactly how many backs they use at that level consistently. But you're probably going to use two backs, minimum. Using a third back, man, that could drastically change things. Drastically change things for the quarterback, change things for the O-line, change things for the running back room as a whole, not just the top two guys, but as a whole, adding one person into the mix could derail a lot of chemistry that has been built and cultivated over the past few months, especially during the summer months leading to the start of the season. So when it comes to a three-back system for Ohio State, three running backs, my first gut says no. But I also realize we're going to see Ryan Day or Brian Hartland or whoever the play caller is for the Buckeyes, the offensive side of the ball. I even easily see them using TreVeyon Henderson, Miyan Williams, and Xavier Johnson in the backfield. I easily see that happening. I don't think it needs to happen. I'll say that very clearly. What I think is going to happen is not something I think needs to happen. I think Xavier Johnson needs to be a Swiss Army knife. However, backfield, running back, and taking the ball and running off tackle 2 or 3 times a game, I don't think Xavier Johnson needs to do that. However, he is a weapon, and a weapon that Ohio State needs to utilize throughout the upcoming season, because if you don't properly utilize the young man when he's on the football field, what do you get? You get an offense that's not consistent. You get an offense that is still wanting more. An offense that got the guys, but the coach is not putting the guys in the right situations. I think Henderson and Williams can get the job done by themselves. I do not think you need to go out there and add and use a three-back system as a necessity for the offense to be all it can be in 2023. I don't think that at all. What I do think is that the Buckeyes will use three backs. And I think if Evan Pryor's healthy, I think he plays. I think he's a good complement to Henderson and Williams. And ultimately, I do think that he can allow those guys to get some rest, and he can allow them in the backfield to be phenomenal. One of the best in the conference, one of the best in the country by utilizing the third back wisely. Once again, I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's needed at all. I think if you say it's a need, I'll ask why. Do you not trust Henderson? Oh, I do. Do you trust Williams? Oh, wait, I do. Then why do you need a third back? That's one thing I don't. Personal preference here. Personal preference. I don't think a lot of the things people do to try to rotate things need to actually happen. We talked about it last year in the offseason. Jim Knowles and going to rotate less, but Larry Johnson wants to have 8 guys on rotation. I don't think when you think about the rotation on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of that stuff does not need to happen. If you want to tell me you're going to rotate, but you don't want to rotate you want to start rotating corners and say, oh, we're going to use 4, not 2. That'd be dumb. Yes, bad English. My mama wouldn't like it, but I'm going to say it again. That'd be dumb. Why? Because it just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make sense at all. Think about it. Game 7. We just had a Game 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And let's just say Coach Spo decided to, hey, Jimmy Butler, you're going to play, but you think you're going to play 42 to 45 minutes in this game, but all of a sudden, just due to rest and you need to rest a little bit more, we're going to have you play only 32 to 35. Jimmy Butler going to say, bro, what's your problem? What is going on? Why in the world are you making this decision? It's literally, if we win this, we go to the high altitude of Denver, have a chance to win the NBA Finals. If we lose this, we're going back to South Beach and going fishing. Which one do you want to do, Coach Spo? Well, I want to go to Denver, go to the high altitude, have a chance to win the NBA championship, and have another one, add another ring to my collection. At the same time, buddy, you tired, man. We got to rest you. No. And it's kind of that same thing now. You may say, Jay, that's an extreme. It's NBA playoffs. It's Game 7. Cool. Great. Also understand this. The same thing goes for guys on defense. Imagine 4th down. You get a stop. Out. Next time you're on the field, an entire series, you're on the field. Next thing you know, you're killing them that series. Come back, you missed 3 series in a row. But you can't get into a flow. You can't get into a rhythm. And the other old line, when you're on the field, is going to start talking trash. Hey, man, are you not that dude? You told me you was a dog. I mean, you beat me up a couple times. But maybe your coach knows something I don't know. Why you keep going out? That other dude better than you? Bro, he's soft. I'm beating him up every rep. And you're sitting here like, man, let me cook. Let me play the football. Which is why when it comes to a 3-back system, I don't think it's a necessity. My hesitancy with Henderson does not make me think he's not going to be a decent running back for the Buckeyes in the fall. I think he's going to get better. I really, really do. It's not a need to play 3 backs. It's probably going to happen. We'll see how the offense runs when there are 3 backs on the field for the 3 backs utilized for the Buckeyes offense in 2023. Stepping away from football for a second, something we had not done in a really long time, to go to the basketball court, because Justice Suing recently made a big decision about his future career playing the basketball. What decision did he make? We'll discuss it next here on Locked On Buckeyes. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen every single day. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Buckeyes on Apple, on Spotify, on the Odyssey app, on Google Podcasts, on YouTube, wherever it is. Subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Apple Podcast listeners and those of you that use the Spotify, make sure you leave a 5-star rating and a review. It's a great free way for you to help other people learn about Locked On Buckeyes and enjoy the Locked On Buckeyes podcast to get all the Buckeye information you need about the Ohio State football and basketball teams. It's been a while since we talked about basketball here on the show. It's not something we normally do this time of year unless there's a big announcement that has been made about somebody who's in the NBA draft in that pool who says, ooh, I have one more year of collegiate eligibility left. Am I going to utilize that to go back to Ohio State, or am I going to keep my name in the NBA draft? And Justice Suing has made an announcement about his future career playing the basketball. He has decided to keep his name in the NBA draft and forego his final year of playing college basketball. It's a COVID year, a year he received from playing during the 2020-2021 college basketball season. For Justice Suing, I view it very similar to the way that I view another a former Buckeye. A transfer, Penn State transfer. I had to think about it a little bit to figure out where this young man came from. I think just assuming this is a decision that I think was going to be made no matter what. I think his time in Columbus was done. Yeah, he can still play. I mean, Seth Towns ended up not playing a year ago, medically retired, which I forgot about. There's a lot of uproar. Oh, 8 years? 8 years playing college basketball? Well, if you did some research, you would realize that Seth Towns literally medically retired, I do believe, last year. And now he says, no, I could play again. So I don't know if that was an Ohio State thing. I don't know if he literally thought he was done. The doctors say, no, you got more time. I don't know. But Seth Towns still playing college basketball. I don't think he has a future playing in the NBA, maybe overseas, but he decided to keep playing. And Justice Suing, I think he's someone that when you think about his time in Columbus was good, but injuries set him back. It would be his third college basketball team if he ended up transferring and not coming back to Columbus. I think he will benefit from another year of college basketball because I don't think he's going to get drafted at all. I would love to come on here and say, I believe in Buckeye basketball players. I believe they're going to be good. I believe that they're going to be great at the next level. I can't do that, man. I can't do my job properly, and I think I'll be doing you a disservice if I came on here and just said, oh, good thing about the Buckeyes. Oh, they failed to beat so-and-so. Oh, it's okay. They'll be all right. Let's pat them on the back. They'll be okay. Let's get them a participate. I'm getting ahead of myself, but no, I'm not going to come on here and just pat everybody on the back. Hey, I know you just lost 4 games in a row. It's okay. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. And so when it comes to Justice Suing, good basketball player, not a great college basketball player, good college basketball player. Do I think he has a future in the NBA? Do I think, one, is he quick enough? No. Do I think his ball handling is at a great level? No. Is he a good enough rebounder? No. Is he a good enough shooter? No. Should he return to college basketball? Absolutely. Was it Columbus or nothing? Maybe, which could have been why he said, I want to go elsewhere. Also, I wonder how much these basketball players trust the strength and conditioning team and the medical staff at Ohio State. I don't know, man. Because I was watching a little bit of Zach Smith. This is more of a football conversation of the show I was watching earlier, asking if, and I didn't get to watch all the shows. Some stuff came up and I had turned it off to YouTube. But Zach Smith is talking about Mickey Mariotti is the strength and conditioning at Ohio State causing them to lose games in the offseason. I don't know, man, but I've seen a lot of Ohio State basketball players get injured just during my short period of time covering this basketball team. So I wonder, does Justice Suing, even though he's been injured, does he trust him? I don't know. Seth Towns, does he trust? I don't know. It's a very interesting conversation with Justice Suing. I don't think he's going to get drafted. Stay there. Great. More power to you. Maybe go to the G League. Maybe go overseas. Get some money that way. Go for it. But also understand, bro, if you want to get done with school and not go to school no more and the NBA is your best route for you, I get it. I understand it. But I compare it to another guy. Now, Suing is better than the player that I'm going to discuss here in a second, so don't hop on here and say, Jay, don't you dare compare him to so-and-so. I get it, y'all. I get it. But a couple years ago, Jamari Wheeler was a Penn State transfer, came to Ohio State for 1 year. Number 55 was a point guard, and all of a sudden he was in the NBA draft. And I came on the show and was discussing why Jamari Wheeler would not get drafted. I don't really think he was I thought it was not a debate. I didn't think he was going to get drafted. And somebody said, hey, man, this guy's saying that Jamari Wheeler this, Jamari Wheeler that. And I'm like, okay, what happened? He didn't get drafted. Suing's a better player, has a better chance of getting drafted. But I still don't think he's going to get drafted. Probably better suited overseas. Now, some say it's a negative. I see it as an opportunity for him to play basketball professionally, make a lot of money while doing so. We're out of here on a Wednesday. 2 more shows left in the week. It's also going to be the beginning of a big month of recruiting for the Ohio State Buckeyes. I already have tomorrow's show mapped out. Almost all of it's mapped out already. Why? June 1st marks the opening of a lot of recruiting visits, official visits. We'll discuss what to expect during the month of June during tomorrow's episode of Locked on Buckeyes. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317 at gmail.com. We're out here on this hump day, on this final day of the month of May in the year 2023. Come back tomorrow. Got a lot of good stuff coming your way, discussing your Ohio State football and basketball teams. For Locked On Buckeyes here on a Wednesday, I am Jay Stevens. I'll see you next time.